When it comes to Canada, what really strikes me with Justin Trudeau's shameless action and cynical action is that while he's making a statement now from the Prime Minister's office, the question then becomes, why the discrepancy if not populist political posturing? And that might help Justin Trudeau in the long term, but that's not what leadership is. Because they're playing with fire.
What Trudeau did was he's playing with a minority community there now for political gain. He could not provide any evidence, manipulating a community who has a large population for political gain, and without understanding the ramification of the statement that can have on this community.
I hope that we don't get into a situation like that with Khalistan, where we listen disproportionately to those who come to Canada or to the United States simply because they can't win any constituency in a democracy back home. We've got to call BS when we see it.
This isn't a one-sided political story in India. Modi and his government have been very active, which is very important on this front. But you had Jairam Ramesh, one of the leaders of Congress, come out yesterday supporting Modi. Aam Aadmi Party, which rules Punjab, has for the most part been in line on the Khalistani issue with the government. This isn't a one-party issue. This isn't a BJP doing some bad things to certain people. This is a Khalistan issue, and it makes sense what we're seeing with the relatively multi-partisan support against Khalistan right now in India.
When it comes to Canada, what really strikes me with Justin Trudeau's shameless action and cynical action is that while he's making a statement now from the Prime Minister's office, when we had the situation of Karima Baluch, who was drowned, and apparently perhaps with some Pakistani assistance, it was a police matter. It wasn't taken to the Prime Minister's office. And so the question then becomes, why the discrepancy if not populist political posturing? And that might help Justin Trudeau in the long term, but that's not what leadership is. And so we really need our politicians on both sides of the aisle here and in Canada need to be much more responsible because they're playing with fire.
What this statement by a Prime Minister of a Western power can do to further alienate this community, and I don't know what kind of ramifications can come out of this.
What the U.S. should be doing in terms of this issue, certainly looking at Treasury, considering listing any organizations we can find as terrorist organizations. Intelligence sharing is really important. For me, it's just very surprising. Again, the San Francisco consulate, not too far away, I don't think any arrests have been made since this consulate was vandalized twice, right? And if you don't stop these smaller things, the danger is that it snowballs into bigger things, right? And this isn't something where we don't know who was involved. They were recording themselves. They were showing themselves, advertising what was going on. We haven't gone after these folks. And this is, again, consulate, it's on American/Indian soil. This should be of concern to us, and we should be doing something.
If I can just make an off-the-cuff analogy to the situation I'm hearing based on what I see oftentimes in the Middle East, put aside wherever you might be on the Arab-Israeli or the Palestinian-Israeli conflict. When it comes to Israeli security policy, ever since 2001-2002 timeframe, when there had been a series of terrorist incidents and so forth, there had been remarkable unanimity within the Israeli political spectrum, both from the left, in the center, and the right, about what Israeli security policy should be. And it's something that the United States oftentimes has trouble understanding as we bifurcate our debate always into left and right in an almost tribalistic way. And the only Israeli politicians who come to Washington and preach something other are those who are trying to court a constituency in Washington because they can't win a constituency back home simply because there's a broad consensus about what the security ramifications of any policy would be. I hope that we don't get into a situation like that with Khalistan, where we listen disproportionately to those who come to Canada or to the United States simply because they can't win any constituency in a democracy back home. We've got to call BS when we see it.
From breaking news, detailed analysis, in-depth interviews and explainers. Follow the Times of India. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. Don't forget to like our videos and hit the bell icon to stay updated with the latest.